Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of the Driving Academy podcast. Today we have a special guest, one of our great team members called John Parker. How are we doing, John?
I'm well, thanks. How are you?
And what do you do for the company, John?
I am the Director of Franchise Development.
That's right. So what does that mean? He actually helps people just like you or people who are interested in owning their very own truck driving school, guide them through the process of actually how Driving Academy franchising works. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Nice. So this video is going to be called the pros and cons of franchising because we've created a program that's been pretty successful so far, and we're pretty new, and sky's the limits, right? You've actually come from a few different franchising companies before this, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm sure you've been able to see what we do a little bit better, what are the pros to franchising and being a franchisee here, maybe what are the cons, what people don't, or maybe is not a good fit for some people. And that's what we're going to talk about on this podcast. Sounds good?
Perfect.
And if you want the cons, you definitely want to make sure that you wait till the end, because we'll probably save that to the end. But that being said, let's talk about the pros. So what are the one thing or a couple things that are some of the pros about being a franchisee here at Driving Academy?
So most franchisees are first-time business owners. That's the one thing, as far as any franchise I would recommend, is your first business be a franchise. What it does is it teaches you the importance of process and procedure, what information to look at, what to follow, what success markers or key predictive indicators to look at. So as far as new business owners, my recommendation would typically just to be find a franchise that you like and go with the franchise that best suits your mission.
But that being said, does that mean all franchises are created equal?
Absolutely not.
Okay. So you've been in the franchising game for a while, right?
More than a couple of years.
Yes, a few.
There are franchises and there are franchises.
Mm-hmm.
There are some franchises that are actually distributorships.
Okay.
And what it basically means is you get to use the name of the company as long as you buy the company's product and you sell it under the company's name.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to pay to use their name, you have to pay to buy their product, and you have to sell it at the price that they dictate. Certainly limited success there. There are other franchises where you have to be an owner-operator to be able to make a living at it. So owning multiple franchise makes it very difficult to be successful. Or the profit margins for what you get to keep are really, really low. And then there are some good franchises. Not to say that those are all bad, but certainly wouldn't be my personal choice. Then there are a lot of franchises with a good process and a good procedure. They're affordable. There's good support after you become a franchisee. There's tons of knowledge before anybody asks you to pay for anything. And I certainly think we fall into that category.
Nice.
Yeah.
What do you think we do differently than most that you've seen out there?
Educate our potential owners on what we do and how we do it. We don't pressure people. If this is the right franchise for you, great. If you're the right franchisee for us, great. Let's go ahead and move through the system. Let's move through the system completely so you understand the franchise in and out. We do everything from video calls, telephone calls. We do corporate visits. We want you to see our corporate office. We want you to see how the schools are set up. We want you to see how the yard is set up. We want you to be able to envision how this will work for you. We go through our process and our procedure. We go through our CRM so that you know exactly what you're getting. You know exactly how it's going to be set up. You know exactly what to expect from us.
Some people say, yeah, we have to evaluate people, but usually they're just anybody with money they grab. Is that what we do here?
We are not if you have a checkbook, you're a franchisee company, no.
We've denied a few people already, haven't we?
A couple, yeah, a couple.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically people that are resistant to coaching,
Right.
that are uninterested in recognizing that we have a process and a procedure, that it's been well developed, that we have spent innumerable hours and ridiculous amounts of money to make sure that what's in place is the right thing, not a barely acceptable thing.
Correct.
I've had a lot of people that have allowed their egos to get in the way, that have said, well, I've owned franchises before, and my question to them is, have you ever owned a truck driving school before? And they say, no, but it's the same thing. And I'm not sure how opening a truck driving school is similar or analogous in any way, shape, or form to opening a cell phone store.
Correct.
We're looking for people that understand that we're the experts, we're going to make them the experts, but they own 100% of their business. They can scale it the way they want to. I don't know of any franchise out there that will guarantee sales. So we'll guarantee that you have $500,000 in sales the first year.
That's right. So if you didn't hear that, repeat that again.
We'll guarantee that you have $500,000 in sales your first year.
And if they don't,
we will give you your franchise fee back.
That's right. Most franchises, I haven't heard of any willing to do that because the legal ramifications behind it is insane. I was talking to my lawyers. My lawyers started saying, Jonathan, don't do this. Please don't do this. And I said, well, I'm so proud of this product. It's something that we definitely know that we could do. So we are willing to guarantee, as long as you follow our process, of course, right? You can't just go do whatever you want. In your first 12 months, you'll make at least $500,000 in sales, or pay your franchise fee back. No questions asked. It's very simple.
Yeah, and one thing that we can't do is give you an expectation of income. That's just not something we can do. But what we can do is say, if you do this, and if you do this, and if you do this, and if you do this, this is what you'll end up with. And $500,000 in sales is, I don't care who you are, that's a great first year for any company.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
And we've had franchisees who opened up in doing that in much less than 12 months. Isn't that right?
I think the last one that I looked at was between $700,000 and $800,000 their first year.
Not bad, right?
Yeah, and they specifically scaled small.
Yes.
So
it's definitely a way to go, and we could definitely do it. But that being said, 500,000, that seems like a big number. Let's talk about the actual driving school industry. This is your first time in the driving school industry itself, and you've been in many different industries prior to this with your own businesses and selling other franchises. What is unique about this industry?
So specifically, I've done a lot of consulting work with companies in the trucking industry. Kind of what differentiates this from some of the other franchises out there is, I guess really more than anything, and this is a personal perspective, I have to have an altruistic reason to do anything.
And what does altruistic mean?
Altruistic means I have to have a good reason for doing it, and that good reason needs to benefit other people. I have a lot of time and effort invested in volunteer work in my community, working with a couple of different shelters. My daughter has taken mission trips and gone to help perform acts of therapy and acts of kindness from children that have been rescued from the sex industry. So when I came here, because that was something that was amazing to me. The first time we talked, you said, the average person in the United States makes X, and the average person that has a CDL makes Y. It was basically a 50% raise. Mm-hmm. And if you don't know, if you're not good at math, that's the difference between making $40,000 a year and $60,000 a year.
You got it.
That's life-changing for people. So if I can help somebody understand that this is the right business for them, that they get set up with that business, they in turn get to help thousands, if not tens of thousands of people over the life of their business. to me, that's an altruistic way, because I'm helping people who are helping people who are then helping people.
And just the ripple effect of that is just contagious. That's crazy.
Yeah. So that's where we're a little different than other franchises. Anybody can order pizza from anywhere.
That's true, yeah.
And
the pizza, it's going to help somebody today so they don't get hungry, but it's not going to really change somebody's life.
Right. So, it's. I guess we're looking for people with a little more of an interest other than let's make $1.
True.
If you can make a lot of dollars and do a lot of good in the world, why not pick that business over another?
Correct. And my whole view when it comes to money is just a measurement of how many people you've been able to help, right? Especially if you're in a good business with integrity. And so there should be no reason why you can't get rich and help people at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So why should somebody join our franchise over another franchise? Maybe why should they open up a truck driving school over a car wash or anything else?
Really, I personally think it's because it fits better for them. I know people that have owned businesses that hated the business they owned.
Mm-hmm.
I have owned businesses where I thought, oh, why am I doing this?
Mm-hmm.
And I did not own those businesses for long. Or I made them a place where I like to go. Really it's, for this, I think this can be really profitable. This is also a business where you don't have to run the business yourself. It's specifically designed so that you can put management in place and you can run the business like a CEO. So if you already own businesses, this probably fits in pretty well.
A lot of people say, a lot of franchises say that, you don't have to be an owner-operator, because I was actually a franchisee, and in that business you had to be an owner-operator to kind of work anything. Knowing what you know now about our business, how true is that? Like, do we have franchisees who don't even know how to operate a truck? And how are they able to manage and grow their business?
Well, you don't have to. So this is a business where we help people get their CDL driver's license, and as the owner, you don't have to have a CDL.
Kind of crazy, right?
You don't have to be an instructor. You don't You don't have to know how to spell truck. Hopefully, you do.
Yeah.
But my point is we've got a process and a procedure in place for everything already, so that you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You don't have to learn everything there is to know about the trucking industry. This is something that you can come in and run as a business with the CRM that we have, the information that we give you, the training that we give you, and the training that we give your staff. The ongoing support after you become a franchisee, the mentoring program that you have in place, the sort of open door policy with any of the employees if you need advice or you have questions. Unlike a lot of franchises, I don't go away after you become a franchisee.
That's true.
I will be available to help train, to bounce business ideas off of, to help you schedule things. So most franchises, once you become a franchisee, the person that you talk to the most goes away the fastest.
Yes.
And obviously...
So, John, tell me about some of the biggest concerns people have about opening up a franchise. What are some of the biggest objections they have? What are stories that they tell themselves that's preventing them from moving forward?
So, the biggest problems, the questions, everything else, it's how do I do this? How quickly do I need to have a location? Should I start looking for that now? Should I sign the lease? And so at least initially, my job is usually the clients are the gas pedal and I'm the brake, which it seems a little backward as far as sales goes.
Yeah.
But people are excited to come in, and I say, look, take your time, ask me individual questions, and let's go through the process. So no, you don't need a place right away. You don't have to have a lot. You don't have to have an office. We have to have a conversation. I need to know that you are understanding how the business is set up. You need to understand how the business is set up, so let's talk about that first. So initially, I usually talk to people about what they get for their franchise fee.
How much is the franchise fee currently?
$50,000.
Okay, that's a lot of money for a business, isn't it?
And no. How much did you? No. How much did you spend just setting up our CRM?
So the CRM by itself, and for people who don't know what the CRM is, it stands for Customer Relations Management, and it's the entire software that we built from scratch that runs the entire business. Without it, we would not be able to do what we do. And I would estimate, I don't have an exact number, but north of $200,000 just for that piece of software.
So for somebody else to do that, they would need to spend that same amount of money.
At least.
But they get that for $50,000.
Yeah.
And a protected territory.
Yeah.
And all the curriculum.
Yes.
And the contracts.
Yes.
And the marketing materials.
Yes.
And a backup system. And a support system. And a shoulder to cry on or a hand to high five. A complete education on how to run this business that translates into how to run any business.
Yes.
So no, it's not very expensive.
So when you say it like that, how many years of experience are they pretty much buying for $50,000?
I tell people they get a 5-year jump start on doing a startup.
So is $10,000 a year worth it? Is pretty much the question, plus all that other stuff that he just talked about.
Well, we give you a success coach. So if you hired a success coach for a year, that would be $30,000. Add that to the $200,000 for the software. Figure out how to keep anybody else from, your friends or anybody from opening a business where you're opening. That's invaluable. Pay an attorney to come up with a contract for a school. That's $40,000 or $50,000. Easy. $10,000 a year to have a complete plug-and-play business with a procedure and a process for everything in place already. $50,000 is,
So you're telling me we should increase the price coming up pretty soon?
It's inexpensive.
Interesting. All right, so if you guys are interested, make sure you start the process now, because next year, John might be convincing me the price might be going up.
Well, $50,000 is considered an affordable franchise.
Makes sense. So it's definitely, for what they're getting, it's like we're giving them 10 times the value.
Mm-hmm.
Now, does that mean I give you guys $50,000 and I have a truck driving school?
No.
Okay, so explain how that process works.
So for $50,000, you have the plug-and-play business, but there are some requirements. You need to have a truck with an automatic transmission and a truck with a manual transmission, and we recommend day cabs.
Yep.
Single axle.
Single axle day cabs, yep.
You need trailers to go along with them. A bus, because people will want to get their Class B CDL. A driving simulator. Office space of about 1,500 square feet. A lot that's preferably about an acre and a half, which will give you plenty of place, plenty of room to do maneuverability, parking maneuvers, pre-trip, in a safe manner. Operating capital. So over and above the $50,000, you're probably looking at, depending on how you want to initially scale the business, between, I would say, another $200,000 to another $400,000.
Okay, so $250,000 to $450,000 should be what they are able to invest in to start one location.
Correct.
Cool. And of course, it depends on the type where they're opening, right? So our land here in New Jersey is much more expensive than if they open up in Colorado or Indiana or Texas even, right?
Right, right.
So everything's going to be justifiable. But when it comes to the sales process, if they and they have to prove to us that they actually have the money or have the ability to finance it.
Right. And we ask for proof of funds. What we don't want to do is disappoint anybody by investing a lot of time and a lot of effort to have them come back and say, hey, I can't get funding. I don't have cash. This is something I really want to do. That leads to awkward conversations about, well, can you guys help me out? Can we be partners? And not that we don't want partners, but we're a franchise.
Correct.
So if we want to open corporate locations, we can. And we honestly don't need partners for that.
Correct.
But what we can do is partner with our franchisees and help them become independent business owners and learn not just about our business, but how to run a business.
That's true. Yeah, 100%. And we actually we were talking to a few potential franchisees today. One actually signed a deal, right?
Correct.
Yep. So we got another one on board, which is amazing. And he made an amazing comment, being like, he has a few other businesses, and what did he say about just off the corporate visit? We didn't even start training him yet.
Well, I know at one point he walked over and hugged you.
Yes.
As we were leaving lunch, he hugged me. He asked me about, how do I get the wire information? And I said, well, let's set up the call for Monday or Tuesday. And he said, I don't need to do that. And I said, well, Jonathan already told me you're approved. And he said, great. I sent him the wire information. He sent the wire over.
Simple.
He said a lot today.
Yeah. Like he even said, wow, I can, just what you've taught me and showed me in your CRM system, I can actually start using this in my business to even increase my business. And that's the cool thing. Like, each one of our franchisees will have access to the mentorship program, and I've invested a lot in my personal development and kind of growing the business. And that's the whole goal, to make sure that you become an overall great business person.
Right.
So then no matter what happens in life, you're able to pivot and you're able to get whatever goals that you want.
Yeah.
Now, that being said, so what I heard was, okay, if you want to make good money, if you want to make sure that you can help people out in your community, if you're financially qualified, and if you are a coachable individual, you are potentially a great fit for this franchise.
You're a perfect fit.
Nice. So now let's talk about the other side, which is, what are some of the cons of franchising? What are people who are not a good fit for?
Should I be blunt?
Be as blunt as possible.
Ego-driven people that don't understand that having a coach or being part of a coach-mentor relationship is an important thing with any business that you do. I have spoken to people, and I said, with this program, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. One of the things I'm really fond of saying, because I think it's great, is we made all the mistakes so you don't have to.
Correct.
That sounds like a 1960s television commercial. Not that I remember the 60s.
Of course not, no. It was a fun time.
And I have had people say, well, I'll do what I want to. I'm like, well, yeah, and you're welcome to do that. We would prefer you didn't use our name.
Yep, you ain't gonna use our name if you have that attitude.
But, I absolutely want you to go out and start a truck driving school and call me and tell me where you're located. People that aren't a good fit are people that know everything already.
So if you have the know-it-all mentality, don't even apply, because it ain't going to help you out. Yeah. We've actually had some people who say, no, I'm just going to open up on my own, and it's been like almost a year. Are they even open yet?
No.
And that's the other thing.
Are they close to being open? No.
No.
Do they have their paperwork filled out for the state? No. Do they have trucks? A location? No.
So what's so hard? Like, why can't I just open up a truck driving school by myself?
Well, you can.
And then?
Well, hopefully you'll be successful. Hopefully you'll figure out how to do it.
Correct.
Frankly, I would rather rely on somebody who already knew how to do it.
Correct.
Who can walk me through the process, who can help me train my people, who can help me find my people to train, who can put together new programs. If I come up with a great idea, but I don't know how to implement it, I have a whole, basically a research and development based corporate office where I can say, hey, I'd like to try this, and get feedback of, we tried that, it didn't work, here's why.
Yep.
Or we tried that, it was moderately successful, but here's why it was moderately successful. How about we try it this way? Or, hey, we've never tried that, let's look into it.
Yeah, exactly.
You end up with a partner that doesn't own any of your business.
And can somebody sell their business? If they say they joined the franchise, things are going well, and all of a sudden they want to sell, can they do that?
Yeah, they want to cash out. They want to step away from the business. You can do a lot of different things. You can transfer it to family members. A business like this is an incredible way to build generational wealth.
Yes.
Build business knowledge for the next generation of people that are coming through. So I highly recommend that if you've got, especially empty nesters, with kids that are wandering, this is a great way to help them focus. Not buy them a business, buy yourself a business, and
Put them in there.
yeah, put them in it.
So, John, tell me who should join us, who should not join us?
People that understand that success is difficult. Success is a lot more easy if you have a partner. I believe there's a sign out here that I'm going to poorly
Quote.
translate it and attribute it to anybody, but it's basically success is out there. You should probably get yours.
That's right, yeah. So Grant Cardone says that there's no shortage of success, so that means you should probably get yours.
Yeah.
And to give you a real life story, when I first opened up my truck driving school, I had no idea what I was doing. It took me about 9 months to open. Well, our first franchise location that we actually helped out, converted that 9 month waiting and kind of scratched my head and coming up with all these contracts and curriculums and all that stuff. We got them open in as little as 4 months because they did their part, of course. That is not always going to happen, but just to kind of give you an example of what is going on there. So that's pretty cool. So what is our overall goal, our first goal?
Our first goal is to get to 50 franchisees. I think we can achieve that pretty quickly.
Yep.
When I came on board, you had said, hey, I'd love to be at 8 new franchisees by the end of the year.
Yep.
As of today, we are at 8
Boom.
and a
See?
half. We'll explain the half later. Call me and I'll explain the half to you.
That's it. And what number can they call? 888-525-3609. So if you're interested in franchising, if you're wanting to start your own business, maybe you have your CDL license, maybe you don't, maybe you're just tired of something and you watched all the way through, definitely give us a call, 888-525-3609, and we could definitely help you out, get you on the road to freedom and change your life forever, but also help thousands of people do the same thing just by following our system. We try to keep it as simple as possible for you. Like I said, we are super grateful for anybody who just joined our team, but understand it's a two-way street. So we're going to show you exactly what you have to do to be successful. You do have to put it in the game plan and actually put in the work to make sure it gets done. But as long as you follow our process, we are so committed to your success that we're willing to guarantee how much?
$500,000 in sales.
In sales in your first 12 months in business. And then, of course, you're going to be growing from there. Because we know the only way that we actually grow as a franchise and become successful is if you, as a franchisee, get success as well. Is that right?
What he said.
That's right. All right, John, thank you very much.
I appreciate you having me.
Not a problem. I'll see you on the next one.